فإن آمنوا بمثل ما آمنتم به فقد اهتدوا وإن تولوا فإنما هم في شقاق.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، أخذنا في الدرس الماضي ولله الحمد والمنة ما يتعلق بشيء من أحكام سجود السهو.
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the one who bestows mercy, and all praises is due to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the previous lesson, we studied some of the rulings which relate to sujood al-sahu, the sujood which is done out of forgetfulness.
صفة سجود السهو.
The description of how this sujood is made.
يقول الله أكبر.
A person, he says Allahu Akbar
دون رفع يدين.
without raising his hands.
يسجد.
He goes down into the prostration.
في السجود يقول سبحان ربي الأعلى وجوبا مرة واحدة.
And in the sujood, he says Subhana Rabbi al-A'la at least once as an obligation.
ويستحب له أن يزيد بما ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And then it is recommended for him to increase according to that which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
ثم يكبر ويجلس.
And then after this, he says the takbir, i.e. he says Allahu Akbar, he sits up.
يقول رب اغفر لي.
He says رب اغفر لي
مرة واحدة وجوبا، ويستحب له أن يزيد بما ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
He says رب اغفر لي at least once as an obligation, and then he increases according to the narration.
ثم يكبر ويسجد.
And then he says Allahu Akbar once more, and he goes back into sujood.
مثل السجود الأول.
Like he did with the first sujood.
ثم يكبر ويجلس.
And then he says the takbir and he sits up.
ثم يسلم عن يمينه وعن شماله دون أن يقول شيء.
And then he makes the taslim towards his right and left without saying anything.
هذا هو الذي ورد عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في السجود السهو.
So this is what has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam regarding sujood al-sahw.
متى يكون؟ هل قبل السلام أو بعد السلام؟
When should a person make the prostration of forgetfulness? Is it before the original taslim or after?
هناك قول للشيخ ابن سعد رحمه الله تعالى مريح جدا، يقول يصح أن يجعل السجود قبل أو بعد السلام ولا إشكال.
There is an opinion or a statement by Shaykh Abdulrahman ibn Nasir al-Sa'di rahimahullah which is very easy, and that is that he said it is allowed for a person to make sujood al-sahw whether it's before the taslim or after the taslim, and it doesn't matter.
لو سهى في السهو.
If a person forgets to make sujood al-sahw.
في سجود السهو بعد السجدة الثانية عندما جلس قال التحيات لله ثم تنبه أنه هنا لا يمكن يقول شيء، فماذا يصنع؟ في سجود السهو قلنا بعد السجدة الثانية يجلس يسلم مباشرة، هو عندما جلس قال التحيات لله ثم تنبه.
So let's say somebody he forgets or misses something or adds something during sujood al-sahw itself. As an example, after a person has made the second sujood al-sahw, he sits up and he starts saying at-tahiyyat, he starts saying the tashahhud. Then he remembers that sujood al-sahw, it doesn't have a tashahhud. What does he do?
فماذا يصنع؟ يسلم ولا شيء عليه.
Immediately he performs the taslim and there's nothing upon him.
هذا معنى ما قلنا أنه إذا سهو في السهو فلا شيء عليه، أخطأ في السهو فلا شيء عليه.
So this is a principle that we have. That if somebody forgets something during the prostration of forgetfulness, there is nothing upon him. He just makes a taslim.
نعم. نبدأ الآن بإذن الله تعالى بذكر ما يتعلق بالوضوء والاغتسال والتيمم.
So now we're going to begin studying or discussing that which relates to al-wudu and ghusl and at-tayammum.
صفة الوضوء.
The description of wudu.
ينوي بقلبه.
A person, he has to have the intention, his niyyah in his heart.
ثم يسمي يقول بسم الله.
And then he says Bismillah, he mentions the name of Allah.
ثم يستحب له غسل الكفين.
Then it is recommended for him to wash his hands.
ثم يأخذ حفنة من ماء بيده اليمنى يضع الماء في كف يده اليمنى.
And then he takes a handful of water in his right palm.
ثم يدخل الماء في فيه ويسحب الماء بمنخريه.
And then he places water in his mouth and also he rinses his nose at the same time.
يضع الماء في كفه اليمنى.
So he takes water in his right hand, his right palm.
ويدخل تقريبا نصف هذا الماء في فيه.
So he puts half of that water into his mouth.
ثم بقية الماء النصف الآخر يسحب من منخريه يجعل يدخل في منخريه.
He puts the second half of that water, it goes into his nostrils.
يسحب.
And he sniffs it up.
نعم. ثم يجعل الماء يدور في فمه في فيه.
And then he rinses his mouth with the water, inside of the mouth with the water.
ثم يخرج الماء من منخريه يعني بالهواء وبيده اليسرى.
And also using his left hand, he rinses the water out from his nostrils.
نعم. مرة واحدة أو مرتين أو 3 مرات.
And a person can do this either once, twice or 3 times.
ثم يغسل الوجه من ماء منحنى الجبهة أو من منبت الشعر المعتاد إلى أسفل الذقن طولا.
And then after this, a person washes his face. And what are the limits of the face? Vertically, beginning from where hair would normally grow on the top of the forehead to his chin.
ومن شحمة الأذن إلى شحمة الأذن عرضا.
And from the beginning of the ear to the ear horizontally.
نعم. وما استرسل من اللحية كذلك.
And anything which goes down from the beard, all of this comes under being the face.
نعم. ثم يغسل اليد اليمنى من أطراف الأصابع حتى يستوعب المرفقين.
And then after this, a person, he washes his right arm. And he does this by beginning with the fingertips of the right hand up to and including the elbow of the right arm.
ولا يغسل العضد.
But he doesn't wash the shoulder or the upper arm.
يبدأ باليد اليمنى ثم اليد اليسرى.
He begins with the right side first, the right arm, and then the left.
مرة أو مرتين أو 3 مرات.
And this can be done once, twice, or 3 times.
ثم يمسح الرأس ولا يغسل.
And then a person, he wipes over his head with wet hands, but he doesn't wash his head.
يبدأ بمقدمة الرأس.
He begins from the beginning of the head
إلى قفاه ثم يعود مرة أخرى.
And he takes his wet hands all the way to the neck, and then he returns his hands back to where he began them from.
ويدخل سباحتيه في صماخي أذنيه.
And he also wipes the inside of his ears with his index fingers.
ويمسح بالإبهام ظاهرهما.
And with the thumbs, he wipes over the outside of his ears.
ثم يغسل الرجل اليمنى مع الكعبين دون أن يغسل الساقين.
And then he washes his right foot up to and including the ankles, but he doesn't go up to his shin.
ويخلل استحب له تخليل أصابع الرجلين بخنصره. And
it is recommended for him to separate and wipe between the toes with his little finger.
فإذا انتهى من وضوئه.
So and then he does it with the left foot, and then when he has finished his wudu,
جاء بالذكر الوارد عن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Then he mentions the remembrance which has been narrated from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
عندنا فروض الوضوء 6.
So we have 6 obligations of the wudu.
لا بد منها.
And these 6 obligations have to be fulfilled.
غسل الوجه مع المضمضة والاستنشاق.
Washing the face along with rinsing the mouth and the nostrils.
واليدين مع المرفقين. غسل اليدين مع المرفقين.
And washing the arms, included from the fingertips all the way to the elbows.
ومسح الرأس مع الأذنين.
And wiping over the head along with the ears.
وغسل الرجلين مع الكعبين.
And a person washing his feet up to and including the ankles.
والترتيب لابد يرتب على هذا الترتيب.
And then the 5th wajib, the 5th obligation is that this has to be done in the correct order.
والموالاة هي المتابعة أي لا يفصل بين هذه الأركان بفاصل.
And then the sixth obligation is that when you are washing each body part, it has to be done in succession, meaning there isn't a long gap or delay between washing one body part and the next one.
يعني الآن بعد أن غسل الوجه
As an example, after a person washes his face,
أخذ يتكلم في الجوال
he starts speaking on the phone.
ثم أراد أن يكمل الوضوء لا نقول لا لابد أن تعيد من جديد.
So if he now wants to start, carry on and continue the wudu, we say no, you have to start from the beginning.
لابد العبادة أن تكون متصلة متتابعة.
Why? Because any act of worship must be done in succession.
نعم.
Meaning one body part follows the next body part immediately.
نواقض الوضوء.
The matters which invalidate or break a person's wudu.
ما هي نواقض الوضوء؟
What are the invalidators of the wudu?
الذي لا يعرف نواقض الوضوء قد يكون وضوء باطل وهو لا يدري.
The person who doesn't know the invalidators of wudu, perhaps he has invalidated his wudu and he doesn't know.
الخارج من السبيلين مطلقا، الخارج من القبل ومن الدبر سواء كان للرجل أو للمرأة.
So any discharge from a person's private parts, from the front or the back, from a male or a female, any discharge from any one of the two private parts breaks and invalidates a person's wudu.
أي خارج من السبيلين فهو ناقض الوضوء.
So any discharge from the private parts invalidates a person's wudu.
بول أو غائط.
Whether it is urine or excrement,
أو ريح.
or the passing of wind,
أو دود.
or دود يعني
دود. يعني المهم قل حشرات.
or anything like
أو حصى.
any stone
أو دم.
or blood.
نعم. كل خارج من السبيلين فهو ناقض الوضوء.
So anything which is discharged or comes out of the private parts, it breaks a person's wudu.
نعم. أكل لحم الجزور، أكل لحم الإبل.
Eating camel meat also invalidates a person's wudu.
زوال العقل يعني ذهاب العقل، إذا ذهب عقله بنوم أو إغماء أو سكر أو جنون.
If a person loses his mind, i.e. whether it's through a person becoming unconscious or sleeping or being drunk or insanity, mental disability, anything which causes the intellect of a person to go invalidates his wudu.
الصحيح أن النوم غير ناقض الوضوء لكن هو مظنة لخروج الريح.
The correct opinion is that sleeping in of itself doesn't break a person's wudu. But there's a strong likelihood or a high probability that during a person sleeping, perhaps he has passed wind. So because of that likelihood of the wudu being broken, we say the sleep also breaks a person's wudu.
نعم. فهذا الأخ هنا غلب شيء من النعاس وهو جالس الآن في الدرس.
So a particular brother, if he is slightly overcome with sleep whilst he is sitting and listening to the lesson and he just nods off,
فنقول هل تشعر بنفسك؟ قال نعم أشعر بنفسي وأنا مستمع لكل شيء وأشعر أني لم يخرج مني شيء، فهذا وضوء صحيح.
So we ask him that, are you in control of yourself? Do you know your surroundings? And he says yes. He goes, even though sleep overcame me, but I was listening to the lesson, I know what's happening around me, I didn't break my wudu.
نعم. وإذا قال لم أشعر بشيء.
But if he said no, I didn't feel anything, I totally lost my thinking,
إذا انتقض وضوءه.
then his wudu is broken.
نعم. كذلك نسأل الله العافية والسلامة الردة لأنها محبطة لكل الأعمال.
And also from those matters which invalidate a person's wudu and purity is leaving the religion of Islam. May Allah save us and we ask for safety and pardoning. Because this corrupts and loses every action.
نعم. صفة الاغتسال.
The description of making or performing ghusl.
الاغتسال على صفتين.
So there are two ways of performing ghusl.
صفة كاملة مستحبة أعلى صفة للاغتسال.
There is the most perfect and recommended manner of performing ghusl.
وصفة مجزئة.
And then there is another description of making ghusl which is sufficient.
أي صفة من الصفتين صفة كاملة أو الصفة المجزئة إذا فعلها العبد خرج منها إلى الصلاة وصلى ولا يحتاج إلى وضوء أو إعادة الوضوء.
So either one of these two ways or methods of performing ghusl, whether a person performs the most perfect and complete and recommended form of ghusl, or a person performs the minimum level of ghusl, which is enough and sufficient and accepted, whichever one of the two a person performs, then this is enough for him to go and pray, and he doesn't need to perform wudu.
الصفة المجزئة.
So the minimum accepted level of ghusl is
ينوي بقلبه.
that a person, he has the intention in his heart that he's performing ghusl.
يسمي يقول بسم الله.
He says Bismillah.
ويعمم جميع البدن بالماء وما تحت الشعور الخفيفة والكثيفة.
And he covers all of his body with water. Water runs all of his body, including his hair, whether it's a little amount of hair or it is a lot of hair.
مع المضمضة والاستنشاق والاستنثار.
And he has to also rinse his mouth, nostrils, and blow the water out.
يخرج بهذه الصفة ويصلي مباشرة.
So as long as a person has done this, then his ghusl is complete and he can pray.
ينوي بقلبه.
So this is the minimum level. A person, he has the intention in his heart.
يسمي بسم الله.
He says Bismillah, he mentions the name of Allah.
يعمم جميع البدن بالماء وما تحت الشعور الخفيفة والكثيفة.
He washes all of his body with water in one go, and also his hair.
مع المضمضة والاستنشاق والاستنثار.
And as long as he rinses his mouth and his nostrils, his nose.
نعم. الصفة الكاملة أعلى صفة وهي التي يعني جاءت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And then the second type of description or manner of performing ghusl is the way in which the Prophet ﷺ used to do it. And this is what has been recommended, and it is more perfect and more complete.
نعم. يغسل الفرجين القبل والدبر.
That a person, he begins by washing his private parts, the front and the back.
ينوي بقلبه.
And he has the intention in his heart.
يسمي.
He mentions the name of Allah by saying Bismillah.
يغسل الكفين.
Washes his hands.
يتمضمض يستنشق يستنثر.
Rinses his mouth and his nostrils.
يغسل الوجه.
Washes his face.
ثم اليد اليمنى ثم اليسرى.
Then he washes his right hand and then his left hand.
ثم يغسل الرأس يرويه بالماء مع الأذنين.
And then he washes his head and he washes his hair and the ears.
ثم يغسل الشق الأيمن كاملا ثم الشق الأيسر كاملا.
And then he rinses all the right hand side of his body with water, and rinses or washes the left hand side of his body with water.
نعم. ثم الرجل اليمنى ثم الرجل اليسرى.
And then he finishes with washing his right foot and then his left foot.
ويخرج بهذا إلى الصلاة.
And then after this he can leave for the prayer.
نعم. مرة أخرى.
So one more time.
يغسل القبل والدبر.
He washes his private parts, the front and the back.
ينوي بقلبه.
Has the intention in the heart.
يسمي بسم الله.
Mentions the name of Allah by saying Bismillah.
يغسل الكفين.
Washes his hands.
يتمضمض يستنشق يستنثر.
Rinses his mouth and his nose and his nostrils.
يغسل الوجه.
Washes his face.
اليد اليمنى ثم اليسرى.
Washes his right arm and his left arm.
ثم يغسل الرأس يرويه بالماء مع الأذنين.
And then he washes his head and his hair and his ears.
ثم يغسل الشق الأيمن كاملا ثم الأيسر كاملا.
Then he washes the right hand side of his body and then the left hand side of his body, all of it.
ثم يغسل الرجل اليمنى ثم اليسرى.
And then he washes his right foot and the left foot.
موجبات الاغتسال.
What are those things which necessitate or obligate for us to make a ghusl?
متى يجب على الإنسان أن يغتسل؟
Meaning, when does it become an obligation upon a person to perform ghusl?
إسلام الكافر.
When a non-Muslim accepts Islam.
إذا دخل الكافر في الإسلام يغتسل.
So when a non-Muslim enters into Islam and becomes a new Muslim, he has to perform ghusl.
موت غير الشهيد يعني إذا مات عندنا مسلم لابد من تغسيله إلا الشهيد لا يغسل.
So any Muslim who dies has to be given ghusl, and the only exception is a person who dies as a martyr in the way of jihad.
خروج المني سواء كان باحتلام يعني في المنام أو في اليقظة.
When a person has a seminal discharge, meaning when semen is discharged from him, whether it was a wet dream, if he is awake, or if he was sleeping, as long as there is a sexual discharge from a person, he has to perform ghusl.
والجماع
and also sexual intercourse.
وإذا طهرت المرأة من الحيض أو من النفاس.
And also when a woman, she stops bleeding, her menstrual bleeding or postnatal bleeding, i.e. after pregnancy, she has to perform ghusl.
نعم. صفة التيمم.
The description of a tayammum.
ينوي بقلبه.
A person, he has the intention in the heart.
يسمي يقول بسم الله.
He mentions the name of Allah by saying Bismillah.
ثم يضرب بباطن الكفين على الأرض.
And then he places the palms of his hands upon the earth.
سواء كانت هذه الأرض من رمل.
Whether it was sand,
أو طين.
or clay,
أو تراب.
or soil,
أو حصى.
or stones,
أو صخر.
or larger pebbles, or
لكن
stones,
لا
rocks.
يمكن أن يضرب على الموكيت. على القماش.
But it's not allowed for a person to place his hands upon fabric, for example.
ولا الخشب.
And neither wood.
ولا على هذه الجدران اللي هي من البوية والسمنت.
And neither a plaster or cement.
ولا على الحديد.
Or upon metal.
نعم على الأرض.
So a person has to place his hands upon the earth.
تراب.
Whether it is soil,
رمل.
sand,
طين.
clay,
حصى.
stone,
صخر.
or rocks and boulders.
نعم. ضربة واحدة فقط.
And a person only places his hands once upon the earth or hits the earth once with his hands.
ثم يمسح الوجه.
And then after this he wipes over his face.
وظاهر الكف اليمنى وظاهر الكف اليسرى.
And then he wipes over the out of his right hand and the left hand.
نعم. ينوي بقلبه.
Again, a person makes the intention in his heart.
يسمي يقول بسم الله.
Mentions the name of Allah by saying Bismillah.
ضربة واحدة على الأرض.
Places his hands or hits the earth with his hands once.
يمسح الوجه.
Wipes over his face.
وظاهر اليمنى وظاهر اليسرى.
And then his outer hands, the right and the left.
نعم. هذا ما يتعلق بصفة التيمم.
So this is what relates to the description of performing tayammum.
المسح على الجوربين، المسح على الخفين، المسح على ما يلبس على الرجلين مثل هذه نلبسها سميها أنت لها.
So wiping over footwear, whether it is socks or khuf, leather socks, or anything which is worn over the foot.
إذا أردنا أن نمسح على هذه الأشياء لابد من شروط.
If we want to wipe over any type of footwear, then we have to fulfill certain conditions.
لابد أن يلبس الجوربين أو الخفين أو يقوم مقامهما على طهارة كاملة، يعني يتوضأ وضوء كامل ويغسل الرجلين بالماء ثم يلبس.
First of all, that footwear which you are wearing, that you want to wipe over, you have to have worn that footwear in a state of purity, meaning you performed wudu, you washed your feet, you completed your wudu, and then you placed on the footwear, whatever the type of footwear is.
الثاني أن تكون طاهرة لا نجسة.
The second condition is that the footwear you are wearing has to be pure and not impure, not najas.
والأصل فيها الطهارة.
And of course the default ruling when it comes to clothing and footwear is that it is pure.
الثالث أن تكون ساترة لغالب العضو.
And then the third condition is that footwear you are wearing has to cover most of your foot, the majority of your foot.
لدينا في هذه الأيام جوارب قصيرة يعني ترى يخرج الكعبين، هذه يصح المسح عليها لأنها تستر غالب العضو.
Nowadays we have those socks, the ankle socks or the sports socks, which don't cover the ankle. However, they cover most of the foot. It is correct for a person to wipe over those.
حتى ولو كانت خفيفة.
Even if the socks or the footwear is very light.
حتى ولو كنت ترى القدم.
Even if you can see your foot through it.
أو حتى ولو كانت مخرقة يصح المسح عليها.
Even if there are holes in your footwear. It is still correct.
أنها تستر غالب العضو.
The condition is, or the principle is, that the majority of your foot is covered.
الشرط الرابع أن يكون المسح في الحدث الأصغر لا في الحدث الأكبر.
The fourth condition is that you are only permitted to wipe over, to make masah over your footwear from minor impurity and not major impurity.
لأنه في الحدث الأكبر لابد من الاغتسال.
Because when it comes to major impurity, الحدث الأكبر, then you have to perform ghusl.
نعم. وأن يكون المسح في الوقت.
And then the fifth condition is that the masah, the wiping over the footwear, has to be within the time period which has been permitted for us.
يوم وليلة للمقيم يعني 24 ساعة للمقيم.
A day and a night for a resident, meaning 24 hours.
وثلاثة أيام بلياليها للمسافر يعني 72 ساعة.
And 3 days and nights for a traveling person, meaning 72 hours.
صفة المسح.
The description of wiping over the footwear.
يمسح على ظاهرهما.
That a person, he wipes over just the top of the footwear, not the bottom, not the soles, just the top.
نعم. إما أن يمسح باليدين.
Either both feet with both hands in one go.
على الرجلين في وقت واحد. أو يمسح على اليمنى أولا ثم على اليسرى ثانيا.
Or that a person, he starts with his right foot first and then he does his left.
يبدأ الوقت متى؟
When does the time period begin for which a person is then allowed to wipe over?
يبدأ وقت المسح لا وقت اللبس.
The time period starts not when you have first worn the footwear, but when you have made masah over it once. As soon as you have made masah once, now your 24 hours have started.
نعم. يبقى معنا ما يتعلق بإزالة النجاسة.
The thing which remains with us now is the removal of impurities, the removal of najasa.
النجاسة عندنا كيف تزال؟
So how are impurities, how is najasa removed?
عندنا إزالة النجاسة على ثلاثة أقسام.
The removal of impurities or najasa is done in one of three ways.
نجاسة مغلظة ومخففة ومتوسطة.
Or we can say that there are three different types of najasa, three different types of impurities. The severe impurity, the weak and lesser impurity, and then that which is in the middle, the moderate impurity.
يعني إزالة فيها شيء قليل من الصعوبة، وإزالة فيها تسهيل، وإزالة متوسطة.
And these three types of najasa, the severe impurity requires a little amount of effort. And then the less severe impurity requires very little effort. And then the one which is moderate.
نعم. النجاسة المغلظة.
So the most severe, heaviest type of impurity.
وهي نجاسة الكلب إذا ولغ في الإناء، يعني إذا شرب، لأنه يشرب بإخراج اللسان. نعم.
And this is the impurity of a dog when he licks or when he drinks from a utensil. Because whenever a dog drinks from the utensil, he touches the utensil with his tongue. So this is the most severe type of impurity.
نعم. فإذا شرب الكلب من إناء ماذا نصنع؟ هذا الماء نفرق كل ما فيه من ماء.
So if a dog licks or drinks from a utensil or from water which is in a utensil, what should we do? The first thing we have to do is the contents of that utensil, the water for example, we have to spill it.
نعم. ويغسل 7 مرات أولاهن بالتراب.
And then 7 times the utensil is washed with water, but the first of these 7 rinses has to be with soil.
يعني تضع التراب فيه أول مرة.
So in the first rinse, a person places just soil in the utensil.
نعم. ثم 6 مرات بالماء. المرة الأولى وتريق الماء، ثم الثانية إلى 6 مرات، يكون المجموع 7 مرات.
And then 6 times you rinse that utensil with water, meaning you place water in the utensil, you rinse it, you spill the water out, 2nd time, 3rd time, up until you wash it 6 times, and altogether it's now become 7 times. The first time it was with soil only, and the second 6 times was with water.
النجاسة المخففة.
Then we have the other impurity, which is the lesser or the weaker type of impurity.
النجاسة المخففة يكفي فيها رش الماء فقط.
The lesser form of impurity, it's enough for us to merely sprinkle some water over the impurity.
والنجاسة المتوسطة لابد فيها من رش الماء مع العصر.
And then the moderate impurity, we have to sprinkle with water, but at the same time squeeze the water out.
نعم. لو هناك كاسة ماء، بين كاسة ماء فارغ أو كوب.
Empty glass of water.
نعم. لا.
Empty
نعم.
glass of water.
إذن عندنا النجاسة المخففة يكفي فيها رش الماء فقط.
So the lesser type of impurity, it's enough for us to merely sprinkle some water on it.
نعم. والنجاسة المتوسطة لابد أن نرش الماء مع العصر.
And as for the moderate impurity, then water has to be used and we squeeze that water out.
نعم. المخففة قلنا يكفي فيها الرش فقط. نعم.
So we said regarding the lesser type of impurity, it's enough to merely sprinkle water.
نعم. النجاسة المخففة مثل النجاسة المخففة المذي.
So what are the lesser or weaker types of impurities? Number one, al-madi. And al-madi,
ما هو المذي؟
what is al-madi?
المذي هو سائل ليس له لون مثل الماء ليس له لون.
So al-madi is pre-seminal discharge. It is a clear liquid which has no color to it, like water.
نعم. يخرج عند التفكير أو التقبيل أو ما إلى ذلك.
And madi is discharged when a person has a thought of an intimate nature or some kissing.
نجس.
It is impure.
ناقض للوضوء.
It breaks a person's wudu.
إذا خرج منك لابد أن تغسل الذكر مع الخصيتين.
If it is discharged from you, then you have to wash the private parts and that which is around the private parts, i.e. the testicles.
لأنه إذا غسل الذكر والخصيتين انقطع بإذن الله المذي ولا يخرج.
Because if a person washes his private parts and the area around it, i.e. the testicles, then there won't be any longer discharge of the pre-seminal fluid.
وهذا الذي أمر به النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
And this is what the Prophet ﷺ ordered with.
نعم. إذا وقع شيء من المذي على الثوب.
If some muddy pre-seminal fluid, if it spoils a person's clothing,
فماذا تصنع؟
what should we do?
ترش عليها الماء فقط، رش هكذا رش، أو تأخذ شيء من الماء بيدك وترش على المكان الذي جاء عليه الماء، جاء عليه المذي.
So it's enough for a person to merely take some water and sprinkle over that area in which was spoiled by al-madi.
نعم. إذن المذي نجس.
So madi is najas.
نعم. وإزالته بالرش فقط.
So al-madi, it is impure, but the lesser, weaker type of impurity, and it is enough to rinse water over it. Sprinkle it with water.
ولا بد أن يغسل إذا خرج منه المذي الذكر مع الخصيتين.
And if there is a discharge of madi, then a person has to wash his private parts and the testicles.
وإذا جاء شيء منه على ثوبك ترش الماء فقط.
And if it spoils a person's clothing, then you merely sprinkle water over it.
دون أن تعصر.
Without needing to squeeze the water out.
نعم. طيب. بقية النجاسات.
And as for the other types of impurities,
بقية النجاسات متوسطة.
then there are those which are moderate.
لابد من رش الماء.
So we have to sprinkle or spill water over it.
مع العصر.
And then squeeze out the water.
نعم. وبهذا يصبح الثوب طهور.
And by this, a person's garments or clothing is then pure.
فإذا يعني وقع على ثوبك شيء من البول.
So if, for example, some urine spoils your clothing,
ماذا تصنع؟ ترش الماء وتعصر.
What should you do? You wash it with water or sprinkle water over it, and then you squeeze that area out, the water, so it's removed.
مرة أخرى.
One more time.
إزالة النجاسات على 3 أقسام.
The types of impurities are 3 types, and how to remove them are 3 types.
مغلظة نجاسة الكلب لابد فيها من 7 مرات ولهن بالتراب.
There is the most severe form of impurity, and this is the saliva of a dog or the licking of a dog, and this has to be washed 7 times. The first of these 7 washes has to be with soil.
مخففة يجزئ فيها الرش فقط.
And then there is the least severe type of impurity, and this only requires sprinkling with water.
متوسطة لابد فيها رش الماء مع العصر.
And then the third type is the moderate amount or level of impurity in terms of its severity, and this requires rinsing or sprinkling with water as well as squeezing the water out.
ولو وضع الثوب في الغسالة أجزأ.
And if a person places his garments in a washing machine, this is enough.
نعم. يبقى معنا آداب قضاء الحاجة.
And that which remains with us are the manners of answering the call of nature.
لم يترك النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شيئا إلا وذكر لنا منه علما.
The Prophet ﷺ did not leave anything except that he has taught us and given us knowledge regarding it.
نعم. أولا يجب على من أراد قضاء الحاجة أن يستتر من أعين الناس.
Firstly, when a person wants to answer the call of nature, urinate, then he has to protect himself and hide himself from the vision of the people.
فإما أن يدخل داخل هذه المراحيض المبنية ويغلق الباب عليه.
So either a person enters into the cubicles and he closes it,
أو إذا كان في الصحراء في الفضاء في الغابة يبحث عن شيء يكون يستر عليه من الناس.
or if a person is outside somewhere, outside in the countryside or in the desert, then he tries to look for something by which he can cover and conceal himself from the other people.
جدار أو شجرة
Behind a wall, a tree,
أو أي شيء.
or anything.
وإذا لم يجد شيئا يبعد.
And if he can't find anything to hide behind, then he distances himself from the people.
يقدم رجله اليسرى عند الدخول.
And when entering into that area in which he is going to answer the call of nature, he starts with his left foot. He enters with his left foot.
وقبل أن يدخل يقول بسم الله.
And before entering into that area, he mentions the name of Allah.
ويقول
And he says,
اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الخبث والخبائث. نعم. وإذا خرج
and when he is leaving,
قدم رجله اليمنى.
he leaves with his right foot.
ويقول بعدما يخرج
And after he has left, he says,
غفرانك. ويحرم عليه أن يدخل إلى هذه الحمامات إلى المراحيض بالمصحف.
So he says, غفرانك, after he has left the area in which he has answered the call of nature. And it is not allowed for a person to enter into the area in which he is answering the call of nature with the mushaf, the Quran,
أو كتب العلم,
or books of knowledge,
بشيء فيه اسم الله سبحانه
or
وتعالى.
anything which contains the name of Allah,
إلا عند الضرورة.
except if there is an absolute necessity.
نعم. كذلك ينقطع عن الكلام عن ذكر الله ما يذكر الله سبحانه وتعالى حال قضاء للحاجة وإذا دخل للمراحيض.
Also, whilst a person is in that place or he is answering the call of nature, he doesn't speak. He does not speak at all, and neither does he make mention of the name of Allah.
نعم. ولا يتكلم بكلام الناس إلا للحاجة.
Neither does he speak or converse with the people unless there is a necessity.
كان يحتاج إلى ماء مثلا وينادي آخر.
If as an example, if somebody was in need of water and therefore he has to call out somebody, this is allowed.
نعم. يصح أن يبول قائما بشرطين.
It is permitted for a person to urinate while standing up with two conditions.
أن يأمن ألا تنكشف العورة.
Firstly, that he is sure his awra, his private parts, are not going to be seen by other people.
ويأمن ألا يرتد عليه رشاش البول.
And also he's sure, or he takes precautions, that the droplets of urine are not going to reflect back onto him.
فلو توفرت,
so if these two conditions are fulfilled,
يصح وإلا يكون البول قائما محرم.
If these two conditions are fulfilled, then it is permitted for a person to urinate standing up, otherwise it is forbidden.
يحرم عليه أن يبول في أماكن يأتي الحاجة البول الغائط في أماكن يؤذي بها الناس ولو كانوا كفار.
It isn't allowed for a person to answer the call of nature in any area in which there is a harm or a nuisance to other people, even if they are disbelievers.
في المساجد.
Also in the masajid.
أماكن جلوس الناس واجتماع الناس.
Areas of people, or areas where people sit or they gather.
وقوف الناس كانتظار الحافلة مثلا أو القطار.
And areas where people stand, for example, the bus stops or the train stations.
أماكن يستظل فيها الناس في الغابات مثلا أو تحت الأشجار.
Also, it's not allowed for a person to urinate in, or answer the call of nature in those areas that people rest or they take shade. For example, under trees.
تحت الأشجار المثمرة.
And also under a tree which produces fruit and people eat from that fruit.
في طريق الناس.
And also in the roads or the pathways that the people walk upon.
ويحرم عليه أن يبول أو يتغوط في الماء الراكد الواقف الذي لا يجري.
Also, it is not permitted for a person to answer the call of nature or urinate in still standing water which is not flowing.
نعم. وكذلك في المكان الذي يغتسل فيه.
And also, it isn't allowed for a person to urinate in an area in which a person purifies himself with ghusl.
ولا يستقبل القبلة ولا يستدبرها.
And a person should not face the qibla, give his back to the qibla whilst answering the call of nature.
في البنيان وفي خارج البنيان.
And this is the same of whether a person is inside a building or outside a building.
نعم. لابد أن يختار مكان لبوله يكون رطب غير صلب حتى لا يرتد عليه الرشاش ويحصل بهذا شيء من الوسواس.
And also, if a person is going to urinate outside, then you have to make sure that the place that you're urinating in is soft, meaning that it absorbs the urine. And so if it's something which is hard, then it's possible that the urine will be reflected back on you.
نعم. إذا انتهى من قضاء الحاجة.
When a person has finished answering the call of nature,
لابد أن يقطع هذا الخارج. ينظف هذا المكان. ينظف المكان الذي خرج منه البول والغائط.
When a person has answered the call of nature, finished urinating, then he has to make sure he washes those private parts.
إما أن يستعمل الماء.
Either by using water to clean his private parts.
واستعمال الماء الله أعلم واضح بين لا إشكال فيه.
And this is clear.
نعم. أو استعمال الحجارة أو المناديل أو الخرق أو الأخشاب.
Or that a person either uses water and or uses stones or toilet paper or leaves or fabric cloth or anything similar to this.
نعم. لابد من 3 مسحات.
So a person has to wipe himself or clean himself 3 times at least if he's using these things.
لا يصح أن يمسح بمنديل واحد من مكان واحد من هذه الجهة. لو مسح من هذه الجهة مرة الأولى، الثانية وقعت إذا مسح من نفس المكان، إذا مسح على مكان نجس.
When a person is cleaning and purifying himself after answering the call of nature with tissue paper, for example, he has to do it 3 times. But these 3 times, it can't be using the same paper in the same place, because the first time the paper becomes impure, and if you use that paper in the same place again, then it's more impurity.
إما أن يستخدم 3 مناديل. هذا مسحة وهذا مسحة وهذا مسحة.
So either a person uses 3 separate pieces of paper, cleaning himself with each piece separately.
وإذا كان الحجر كبير يصح أن يمسح مثلا مرة من هنا ومرة من هنا ومرة من هنا.
Or if, for example, a person is using a stone which is big in size, then he can clean himself or wipe himself with one side of the stone and then another side of the stone and the third side of the
إذا
stone.
لا يصح أن يمسح على مكان واحد أكثر من مسحة.
But it's not allowed for a person to use the same spot to wipe himself with.
فإذا حصل النقاء حصلت الطهارة ب3 مسحات اكتفى بها.
So if a person has purified himself and that area is clean by using 3 different wipes of the paper, then this is enough.
كيف يعرف النقاء؟ كيف يعرف الطهارة؟
How does a person know? How can he make sure that area is now clean and pure?
يرجع المنديل جاف ليس فيه شيء، لا أثر للبول ولا للغائط.
That on the 3rd wipe or the 3rd tissue paper, there's no remnants of impurity.
فإن وجد في المسحة الثالثة أثر لابد أن يزيد.
But if even with the 3rd piece of paper he finds remnants of impurity or wetness, then he has to wipe himself a 4th time.
الرابعة الخامسة السادسة حتى ينقطع.
So 4, 5, 6 times until the last one that he wipes himself with, there's nothing on there.
وإذا رجع المنديل جاف حصل النقاء.
So as long as the last wiping of paper it remains dry, it's not wet, there's no remnants of any impurity, then now it is clean.
لكن إن حصل النقاء بعدد مسحات فردي اكتفى بها، وزوجي يعيد واحد استحبابا يزيد واحد استحبابا.
So in all cases, you have to make sure that it's an odd number of times. So even if, for example, it's been done with 4 wipings of the tissue paper, you increase 1 to make it 5, and this is a recommended act.
ولا يجوز له أن يمس ذكره بيمينه.
And also, it isn't permitted for a person to touch his private parts or the frontal private part with his right hand.
يستعمل اليد اليسرى.
Rather, he uses his left hand.
ويحرم عليه أن يستعمل الطعام، طعام الإنس أو طعام الجن أو طعام دواب الإنس أو طعام دواب الجن، يعني في إزالة النجاسة.
Also, it is not allowed for a person to clean himself with any type of food, whether it is the food of humans or the food of jinn or the food of cattle and animal. It's not allowed for a person to use the food of any of these to clean and purify himself.
أو بشيء فيه ذكر الله.
Or to use any paper or anything which contains the name of Allah.
مثل الجرائد العربية، الجرائد العربية لابد أن يكون فيها اسم الله.
Like for example an Arab newspaper. Arab newspapers always have the name of Allah.
ولا يجوز له أن يستخدم أشياء نجسة لأنه لم يستفد شيء بهذا.
And also it's not allowed for a person to use something which is impure in itself to purify himself with, because there's no benefit in this.
نعم. ويكون بهذا وسط، يتقي الله سبحانه وتعالى في إزالة هذا لكن لا يصل إلى الوساوس. نعم.
And in this manner a person remains in the middle. At the same time he has feared Allah in purifying himself, but at the same time he hasn't entered into the doubts and the whispers of shaitan.
ويصح له أن يستعمل المناديل أولا ثم بعد هذا الماء، لا إشكال.
And it is permitted for a person to use tissue paper first or toilet paper first and then wash himself with water. This is also okay.
لكن هذا ليس من باب التعبد، هذا من باب البعد عن مس النجاسة بيده.
But this isn't from the angle of worshipping Allah, meaning we're not worshipping Allah through combining toilet paper with water. Rather, this is from the angle of hygiene and a person not touching impurities.
نعم. سنن الفطرة.
What are the sunan al-fitra? And these are the actions or guidelines of personal hygiene.
قص الشوارب.
Trimming and shortening the mustache.
وإعفاء اللحى.
Allowing the beard to grow.
تقليم الأظافر.
Clipping the nails.
وحلق العانة، حلق الشعر الذي ينبت حول القبل.
And a person shaving the pubic hair, i.e. that which grows around the frontal private part.
ونتف الإبط.
And a person plucking or removing
حلق العانة ونتف الإبط وتقليم الأظافر لها وقت محدد.
So these matters, i.e. shaving the pubic hair or clipping the nails or removing hair from the armpits, there's a certain time period that we have to do it within.
لا يتركها أكثر من 40 يوم.
A person should not leave these things unattended for over 40 days. Within 40 days, he has to shorten or cut or shave those areas.
نعم. هذا والله أعلم، صلى الله على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم.